large withdrawals could kill your retirement savings. Don't run out of money. Let's talk about 3 things. Big withdrawals early in retirement. What is a reasonable rate of withdrawal? And be careful about the investments you're using. Okay, we're talking about TSP, we're even talking about 401k or IRAs. So a large withdrawal early on in retirement can create a massive spike in your taxes. And you may recall a story about somebody who insisted on pulling out like $160,000 back in the day to pay for a condo out of state so they would not have a mortgage. And I asked them 3 times to talk to their accountant. And they didn't. They insisted on having it. And this is back when interest rates are super low. And I was encouraging them, please, go get a mortgage. I don't want a mortgage. Go. I think it might be a good idea. What happened was the following year, because of that massive withdrawal from the TSP, or the retirement plan, in this case was the IRA, that massive withdrawal required another massive withdrawal the following year to pay the taxes from the 160, which I said we must withdraw more money to pay the taxes. No. And also what happened was they asked me now to talk to their accountant a year later. And then the following year, we had to take another big withdrawal to pay the taxes from the year prior to that, from the year prior to that. And it was at least 4 years of misery because of that one large withdrawal. So you got to be careful about taking out large withdrawals. They could spike your taxes. Not only that, they could hammer your money's ability to last as long as you do. You need a plan. You need to have it down in writing, because then what happens if our families need to take out a large amount, we can create a brand new plan with just a couple clicks of the software, and we can see what kind of effect it would have on your money lasting a lifetime. How does that sound? Now, number 2. Here we go. Number 2, what is a reasonable rate of withdrawal? You've heard it talked about maybe a 4% rate of withdrawal. So if you've got $1 million, that looks like $40,000 a year, and you divide by 12, right? What is that? $3,600 a month, a little bit less, $3,333 actually. Okay, if you got $500,000, that's half as much, right? It's $1,670 almost a month. So that's what reasonable rate of withdrawal you hear about in the financial planning arena. Now, if you've had a massively good year, sometimes people say, Charles, I had a really good year. Can we take out more money? Yeah, sometimes we can. And you can go on those trips too. We like to plan your written retirement income plan. We call it a CRC here, a chartered retirement course. The acronym is a CRC. We call it that because we know what the charts tell us. We know what you can do and how you can enjoy yourself and maintain that standard of living that you always dreamed about doing, things that you wanted to pursue, and those things in recreation that bring you joy. Could be serving others, could be your golf game, could be pickleball. Man, oh man, is that a big thing now? Yeah. Anything that you want to pursue, right? It could be Habitat for Humanity or, going and feeding people in third world countries. Whatever it is, we want to make sure you can accomplish that. What's your third obstacle you want to make sure that you don't get hung up on? This might be your investments. You got to be careful. If you're doing something like sitting in cash, and guess what? The TSP actually lists it now as cash. The G fund, you could be losing purchasing power over time, like that slow leaky tire that could be going and slowly. It's your enemy because you're not making enough to stay pace with or outpace inflation. And I ask in training inside agencies constantly, the stated mission on the PowerPoint, it'll say the stated mission of the G Fund is to outpace inflation without risk of loss to your principal. no, the G fund has not outpaced inflation. You know, I just watched which I haven't done in years, I watched a NASCAR race. It was a Firecracker 400 in Daytona. And it was interesting how they were trying to outpace everybody else and the different techniques they had to use in drafting and being really close to the car in front of them just to get forward, and how some drivers just got wiped out because they were not staying pace. So how are you going to stay pace? You have to have a mix of investments. That is so important. And that mix of investments, you're going to have some money in stocks or stock index funds to outpace inflation by a long shot over time. Yeah, there's risk involved, but that may not be for all of your money, but you've got to separate that money. And then you may have money that has the purpose of income monthly, or the pursuit of your dream items, your bucket list things. And typically, if you have it intermixed in a 401k or TSP, that's no good. So you can click here for a video on separating your assets when you need to create retirement income. Because as a letter from way back in the day, July of 2014, TSP newsletter said, retirement income should be the outcome. So whether you've got a 401k, IRAs, TSP, 403b, 457 in your family, that's what's up. We look forward to helping you. Don't forget, okay? What are those 3 enemies that could cause you to run out of money? Big withdrawals that could spike your taxes or cause your money not to last a lifetime. A reasonable rate of withdrawal. And then finally, be careful of your investments. If you put it all into conservative, it could really hurt you later. Okay, we'll talk to you next time.